Thank you everyone for joining us for our live book reading for chapter 6, Gainfully Employed. Super excited to get started, and I'd love to pass it over to our amazing, beautiful co-host, Miss Liz Forrest.
Woohoo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya. Oh, I'm so excited for everybody to be here this evening. Welcome to our Ultimate Coach book reading event in community. This is a journey into conscious awareness and conscious creation of our being. So I'm inviting all of you to be fully present tonight as we raise the consciousness of our being as leaders around the world. So the Ultimate Coach book was written by the incredible and inspiring Amy Hardison and our friend, Ellen D. Thompson, who did all the research. Thank you so much for all your work. It's amazing. And we'd like to thank them both for the commitment that they gave for creating this book of being that continues to create an impact and a ripple effect on all of those who are willing to read the book about themselves and planting the seeds around the world of being. So we'd like to acknowledge Steve Hardison, aka the Ultimate Coach, as well, for listening and letting the Spirit guide him in creating the questions that he gave to us on the back of the book and in the front, the first 2 pages. So the before you begin, those continue to create the presence of the reading and the book itself. So it really helps us go deep and really impact us so we know who we're being and how we're showing up. So I just want to say thank you so much, Steve, for the enormous impact that you continue to consciously create in each and every one of our lives internationally across the land and seas. So thank you so much for that, Steve. And then we're going to acknowledge you for creating the opportunity to be right here today with us, being fully present with us. Your presence here in this space is valued in this co-created area that we have. This opportunity allows for a deeper experience of the book, The Ultimate Coach, where we get to further our being and we also get to be gathered in this community and share with one another and experience being at an even deeper level. So thank you all for showing up. And I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much to our beautiful guest reader this evening, Miss Shauna Kristevska. She said yes to us, and we are so excited to have her here with us this evening reading chapter 6, Gainfully Employed. She's been an awesome participant, and I'm so excited to have her insight and to help us all go just a little bit deeper with being today. So thank you so much for the impact, Shauna, that you have brought to our lives in this community and all of those around the world. So thank you for that. It's an honor to us to have you here. And we thank you sincerely for being a yes for us and the service in your presence here with us tonight. So I have a PDF that somebody's going to drop in the chat for us. It is new for this season's book reading. So if you want to work on that, it's just a worksheet that kind of helps you take things a little bit deeper. It's kind of a call to action for each and every one of us that helps us focus on creating maybe a new line of our document or maybe revising one, just an opportunity for you to reflect and go a little deeper. So somebody will drop that in the chat. So if you've already created that document, go for it. Look to see, do you have some frosting on top of dog poop that you need to work on? If so, this is a great opportunity. Maybe it just doesn't feel like it's a fit anymore. Maybe as you've grown in your being, maybe it's time for it to change up just a little bit, revise that. So if you're on the other end and you're just coming in and you haven't quite created that document yet, or you are facilitating like the structure and just not quite there, don't really understand how to do it, then we're inviting you to see what comes up today and then just exploring a way to identify a line that you want to create for your document. And by the end of the season, you'll have a whole big document for you. So that should be in the chat if you need to print that off or if you already have one. Now we're going to kick it off, go just a little bit deeper. I would like to invite you to ponder this question for just a second. Since we're doing gainfully employed, the question that came up for me that I'd like you to just drop something in the chat is, who would you need to be to take the most powerful stand for yourself when it comes to business and work? Who would you need to be? So I'm just going to pull up my chat and I'm going to see what do we got. Present in love. Ooh, I like that, Olga. So if we're present in love, then can't help but, show up awesome. Outrageous Brooklyn attitude. That's right. Committed. Love that. In the present moment. Yes. Beautiful. Service to others. Great answers coming in. Love that. And then another question that I have is, where are you not committed to being the most powerful person that you could be? And do you notice it showing up in multiple areas of your life? If you're not being it there, where else is it showing up that you're not being it? Tom, I love that. Opening the world for others to evolve through that love earlier. Beautiful. Be now, be action. Tanya, great. Love it. You guys have awesome answers coming through. Where are you not committed? Where are you not being your true authentic self and showing up? And how's that affecting your life? You got anything? Drop that in there. So I'm wondering, are you on track to die and have nothing left in you? Or are you going to leave some stuff unsaid and undone? Oh, here we go. In my prospecting and revenue generation. All right, let's go, Dave Orton. We got it. Yes. Me personally, I'm exercising commitment to be in action. I noticed that was a big thing for me. So if I was typing in the chat, that's probably what I'd put. I am that I manage all that lies before me with love, commitment, and calm professionalism. I need to commit to my own authentic rhythm and reason. Ooh, love that. Public speaking, love it. When I forget the present moment, I miss a lot. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. All right. Awesome, awesome answers. Showing up fully without hesitation, all of the relationships, including the ones I want to create. Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. All right, guys. Well, this journey to your heart begins with the listening about you. And as you hear the words that are written on the pages of this amazing book as it's being read to us this evening, remember they're about you. They are written about you. Allow for any insights that come up, whether it's, a chance to stir your soul, maybe feel something that's triggering you, something uncomfortable. Just be present with those feelings. Feel those, acknowledge them, experience it about you. And then in this space, we begin to enter the truth of our own beings. We can create, recreate, reaffirm, we can re-express whatever it is, do it about you. It's all about you. So now, before we pass it on over, I just want to remind everybody again, read about you if you're a reader, listen about you if you're not reading, and when it's time to share, share about you. And with that, will pass it over to our beautiful Miss Fari. So take it away.
Well, wow, what a lovely introduction. Was that me? How lovely of you to say all that good stuff. Wonderful people. How great it is to be here with all of you. And I just wanted to show you my book. Look at it. I've baptized the bloody book. Do you see this? And I'm not a reader. I'm a listener. So I listen to the Audible. And that's what has happened to it. So that's what I call this book. The Bible of being for me. It's not just a book. It's brilliant. It's a powerful source to just all of us have. And how blessed are we to be connected with this book in here from all over the world. And I wanted to know who has got the book. Can you show me? Perfect. Perfect. That's brilliant. And I want to, first of all, thank you all. Of course, you're here. We have the lovely Shana to lead us the way. And we always have two people that we ask them to read the front page and the back page. And do we have anybody here today that is the first time they're here? Do we have any first timer? You can show with the electronic hand if you're a first timer at all. But I think almost everyone's been here before, correct? Oh, yeah. And we always have to ask who wants to read, but I want to change that a little tonight and say we always love to have someone to read the back of the book and the front of the book, the first 2 pages. And I just wanted to actually ask our fabulous, delightful Mary, who's Ken's wife. I love the way Ken always spices the whole way of the book reading. And I thought, how about if I ask Mary, would you honor us and read the back of the book tonight for us? Would you please?
Sure, I'd love to.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Of course, it's my pleasure. And also, now I'd love to know who would like to read the first 2 pages that it says, before you begin. Who would like to read that? I see new faces that Magdalena, would you like to? Or Stacy, I'm seeing faces that I've not seen. Does anybody like to, the new ones, to
I
read?
saw Renate's hand go up.
Oh, Renata. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't see you. Sorry, sweetheart. All right, perfect. Well, then we've got our readers then. So when you start reading, Mary, and then Renata, you go ahead right after. You don't have to wait. And then our beautiful Shana, you take a deep breath, sweetheart, and you're gonna make it. It's a very friendly family here. So there's no messing up. If you have to pause, you pause. If you have to read the page again, you read the page again. So what? You know, it's nobody here is perfect. And we're not looking for perfection. We're just looking for love and be present in this moment. That's all that there is. Just think about you're sitting in your bed and you're reading it all to yourself. That's how it goes. So we love our Amy Hardison that wrote this and bring it all of us together. So without any further ado, would you please, Mary, you go ahead and start reading. And then after that, Renate, and then Shana. How's that?
Perfect.
Are we all ready?
Yep.
Perfect. Go on. You've got the stage, Mary.
Dear potential reader, as you may have noticed, there are no testimonials on the back cover of this book, imploring you to read it. I vetoed that. The only testimonial I'm interested in is the one you will have from reading and experiencing this book. Please do not read this book about me. Read this book about you. Read it about being. As you read, ask yourself, who would I need to be a more loving person? Who would I need to be a more effective parent? Who would I need to be to create a level of confidence that is remarkable? Who would I need to be at peace with who I am? Who would I need to be fully in love with myself and my life? Who would I need to be to live the most extraordinary life I can live? I promise you that if you read this book with the intention of expanding your state of being, you will do exactly that. Your experience will be remarkable. Who are you being is everything. Loving you, be blessed, be you, Steve Hardison.
Before you begin, note Thank you for reading the back cover, Mary, and the first 2 pages each time before you read this book. I never wanted to write a book, and I haven't. I never wanted to have a book written about me, but here it is. This book is a gift from my wife Amy, who wrote it, and my friend Ellen D. Thompson, who conducted the research and the interviews on which it is based. And it's not just a gift to me, but to you too. And now you are reading it. So, with your permission, I'll give you some suggestion on how to read it. You see, this isn't an ordinary book. It's not simply a biography. It's not a self-help book. It's not a literary classic. It's definitely not a book about how to coach. In fact, it's not a book about doing anything. It's a book about being. It's a book about you. To access this book, ask yourself these questions as you read. Who am I being as a partner, parent, or friend? Who am I being as a leader? Who am I being as a member of my community? Who would I need to be to have miracles show up in my daily life? Who would I need to be to create value in the work I do? Who would I need to be to generate a life of abundance? Who would I need to be to alter my relationship with fear? Who would I need to be at peace with my past? Who would I need to be to step powerfully into my future? Who would I need to be present as a way of living or of being? Who would I need to be to live the most extraordinary life I can live? Who would I need to be to know that my life makes a difference? Who would I need to be fully in love with myself and my life? Who would I need to be to improve my relationships with the most important people in my life? Who would I need to be to read The Ultimate Coach and have a personal breakthrough in being wonderful me? The best part about this book about you, is that it is endless. The story goes on, and it is written by your being. Loving you, be blessed, be you, Steve Hardison. P.S. Remember, every time you reread this book, please read the back cover and the first 2 pages before you begin. If you do this, your experience of this book will be totally different. SFHKAB.
Good evening, beautiful beings, and thank you so much for welcoming me and in this beautiful group with these beautiful people, and providing this sense of belonging and sisterhood, brotherhood, of evolution, love, consciousness, and being. Chapter 6, Gainfully Employed. Steve had his first job when he was 9 years old. There was a convenience store near Steve's house called the Milkorama. They sold milk, gasoline, sundries, milkshakes, and donuts. One day, he was in the Milkorama oogling the donuts. The woman working at the counter asked Steve if he would like to make some money. He belted out an enthusiastic yes. Soon, Steve had a wire basket with a strap that went around his neck. Each day, his boss would fill his basket with boxes of donuts, and Steve would go door to door selling donuts. If he sold them all, he would come back and get more. He got a percentage of the donut sales. He sold a lot of donuts. When Steve was 10 years old, he asked his mom for $20 to get a football uniform so he could play Pop Warner football. She didn't have the money. Building on his donut success, Steve found a job selling magazine subscriptions. The company that hired him drove him and several other young salespeople to Logan, about 45 minutes away, and dropped them off. They descended on Logan like ants. Steve relates. I loved this job and the opportunity it gave me to talk to so many people. Yes, I sold magazine subscriptions, but I also started polishing my ability to connect with people. This wasn't just a technique. I genuinely cared about the people I met. One day, I was talking to a woman at her doorstep when I saw she had a clock just like one we had. When I mentioned it, she said her clock didn't have a key. Well, we had a key, but our clock didn't work. The solution was obvious. I promised her I would bring her our key. Logan is a long way from Clearfield if you don't have a driver's license or a car, but I got back there and took her the key. We forged a friendship. Years later, she came to my mission farewell. When Steve was 17, he worked at Maddox Manufacturing in the Freeport Center. They manufactured bombs for the Defense Department. He stood at a machine and drilled holes into cast iron. He did this over and over and over. It was monotonous and mind-numbing. He lasted 3 days. Steve soon found another job. This one entailed a long commute, an hour's drive each way. Steve went to his friend Larry Belknap and told him about the job. Steve enjoyed working with Larry. Plus, Steve didn't have a car. Larry did. Steve handed Larry a pair of white patent leather shoes and a white leather belt and told him to wear them to the interview, which Steve had set up for the next day. White shoes for a factory job? That seemed strange, but Larry trusted Steve. When he showed up to the interview, Larry noticed that all the men were from Indianapolis, Indiana, and they all had white belts and white patent leather shoes. He fit right in, and he got the job. They would both be working at Belcamp Incorporated automotive parts distributor. Belcamp was a step up from Murdoch Manufacturing, but it was not in any way Steve's dream job. After working at Belcamp for about 6 months, Steve opened up the newspaper one day and saw a big 2-page ad. Max Factor coming to Clearfield, Freeport Center, jobs available. They looked promising. On the appointed day, he went to the location listed in the newspaper. He saw dozens of long tables with hundreds of people filling out applications. Once they finished, they put their applications in a box. Steve walked over to the man who looked like he was directing things and asked, "Who's in charge here?" He responded, "I am." Steve said, "I'm not very old. I don't have anything to put on that piece of paper that will give you an idea of who I am and what I can do. If I put my application in there, you're going to miss the talents I have." This got the man's attention. He interviewed Steve and offered him a job as the inventory control manager. Steve loved this job and he did it well. Although he was just 18, he set up an entire inventory control system in this location. Steve had worked hard for several years. He had no other choice. If he wanted to buy something, he had to make it happen. He and his siblings needed to contribute to the household expenses. Since his religious conversion, he had been saving money to pay for his mission. He was on a target to have the money he needed until Maureen had her stroke. She fought back from death's edge, but it took time. She was out of work for months. She had no disability insurance. She received no paychecks when she wasn't working. Steve drained his savings account to help keep his family afloat. Steve was sure that God would provide.
Wonderful. Wow. It's amazing how it takes us back to our own upbringing, isn't it? All that we've all been through. It's so great to see that we're not alone. And lots of people have gone through what we've been through. By saying that, I'd love to ask, thank you, the readers. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Renata, for reading. That's excellent. And I'd love to ask any of you, I can start from Mary. Is anything resonating with you that you like to share, Mary?
I mean, I can like relate to Steve in a certain way because our family, it was a struggle for our family. We had a family of 7, and I didn't really realize we were poor because my mom did the best she could with us. But, we had to help, with the family, help provide, had it, we had like little jobs that we did and did everything we could to help our family. But I wouldn't change it for anything because at the time it was hard, but when I look back and all the lessons I learned from my family, my parents, I just think it brought me to the person who I am today. And I'm very thankful for that. And I have a tea room. I know Ken told you, and I just I it's not to me about making the money. It's about the people and the connections I make with the people that come through my tea room is just I'm just so very blessed and so thankful for all the people I meet. And I mean, we just had a tea this past Saturday, and the woman, one of the women attending was just came, and talked to me privately and just was like crying because she said she lived all over the world and she never experienced anything like the love and the welcoming she felt. And she just thanked me so much for providing a place like this for people. And I mean, that just, I couldn't ask for anything better than that. So, it meant the world to me. So that's what
That's
I wanted to share with you tonight.
excellent. Look at what you've created.
Yeah.
The love space that you've created, the hope you created. And that's all that matters for all of us, to be that space
Hmm.
of support and love and growth.
Yes.
What else is there left otherwise? And you see lots of people, it's always about me. It's always about me. It's never about what can I be for somebody else? How can I step out of my comfort zone to be somebody else? And that's all about the growth. And thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being who you are. That's
Thank you.
marvelous.
Thank you.
Blessings to you, my love.
You
Okay,
as well.
Renate, you have anything to share, sweetheart?
Absolutely. Hi, beautiful souls. In the last 2 book readings, I didn't realize how many similar things happened in Steve's life than they happened to me and in my life. And it started right here. I'm the oldest of 5, and my father had his own garage. So money was always tight. And as he said, it was the same thing for me. If I wanted to buy something, I had to make it happen. And Christmas presents and birthday presents, they have been practical things. I mean, we had to get our clothes instead of toys, our books. So I worked for books. I worked for my first pair of trousers because my father was old school. Girls had to wear skirts, even in cold winter. So, and I wanted trousers. So I had to literally go and work for them. So I spent a good part of my first holiday job to buy a pair of original Wrangler cord jeans, the ones with the big legs. That was back in the this was the beginning of the 70s. So, and and I literally wore that thing till it fall apart.
Oh, wow.
And I did this all my life since I got the legal age to work in my holidays, in my school holidays. I was working. I did not subscribe the people to the magazine, but I delivered the magazines they subscribed to. And there have been a lot of strange experiences because a lot of people they refuse to take the magazine. They changed their mind and they didn't want it. And for some of the money, so I lost money on that first job. So I stopped with that. I worked mainly in hospitals cleaning, and then later I had all kinds of jobs. But I think that makes me to the person I am today, and I was never afraid to do career shifts. So I'm a studied social worker. I did holistic medicine for I did an education in that. I was a taxi driver for 25 years, 10 years only night shifts in the 80s. With 46, I became a scuba instructor. With 63, I turned online. And now, 1.5 years ago, I started a serious online business. And there's another thing what is very similar. Yes, I sell, but I also have the amazing chance to connect to many, many people. And today I think I'm in a people business, as I was in my entire life, and operating on relationships and teaching. So that is, yeah, very, very similar. And I never realized that before. So thank you. I love you all.
And your love shines from you. It's just like you exude all that love and support at all time. I had the pleasure of meeting you in Arizona, and you are such a bundle of love. And wow, it shows you love people. I just feel like we all are. That's what we're sitting here. Like, I don't know how to live without people. It's just something that my husband says you get energized when you're with people, and I don't know how to be without people. I love to be the gift to them and have them as a gift to my life. So it's wonderful to see that in you as well. And you're always glowing, sweetheart. Thank you for being here and reading for us. And now to our gorgeous, beautiful Shauna. Wow, what a reading, girlfriend. That was brilliant. It wasn't just good, it was brilliant. When it was towards the end of it, they said, well, could she stretch it a little bit more and just read a bit more? You know, it was delightful to hear your reading, sweetheart. Thank you.
Thank you.
How did you feel actually? Before I ask you how did you feel
Well,
while you were reading?
I was able to receive all the love and all the support, and that sense of belonging and being part of this group is wonderful. And I thank you all for your love and your blessings.
Because you're all that yourself.
Thank you.
What you see in us, it's mirroring you, sweetheart. We're not sitting here just giving it to you, and now whatever we give to each other is what we get from each other. I strongly believe that. And how you are, when you just came in, clearly that's you. So it's a reflection of yourself. That was wonderful to listen to your reading. That was brilliant. Was anything present for you? Would you like to share?
Yes, it's very interesting how many, the commonality, the so many experiences that we all have. I came to this country from Macedonia when I was 15. I didn't speak English, so like a month later, I started working in a bakery. I, had to get up and be there like at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is like, oh my God, what is happening in my life? And of course, they were making fun of me when I would say the donuts is $4, instead of dollars, $4, So no, I've had all that experience of selling donuts. I had an experience of being robbed at a donut shop. I worked in a factory. I cleaned houses, restaurants, sales. Then progressed, and I was going to school, part-time, working full-time. I had my mom, my sister, my brother depending financially, so I was always taking care of other people, working 7 days, going to school. And finally, like at 28, I was accepted to medical school, which people said,
Wow.
who do you think you are? Like, we have no money for that. So yes, I went through medical school, finished that, finished residency in neurology. During my medical school, I was working as a sleep technician, and I had this wish of while I'm working as a technician, that one day I would come back at this hospital as a doctor, and that has happened for me. But I think
Wow.
over the years, what was happening, I was hearing so much. I always wanted to be a doctor, but I was always hearing, who do you think you are? Like, we're not from that group. Like, we don't have anybody in our family like going to college, and you gonna go in America, like you're an American, you're gonna be a doctor. Like, who's gonna take care of us? Who's gonna provide for us?
Unbelievable.
So I'm grateful, and I'm with this group and reading, The Ultimate Coach, and getting all the love and support. I'm learning to love myself, learning to allow people to love me. And I love being part of this group and that sense of belonging. And I love to meet and, talk to each one of you.
Gladly. Are you kidding? It's a pleasure. I'll be the number one that is going to DM you and bug you and say, that's it, we need to make the time and talk. That'd be lovely. Yeah, it's incredible how much we just think it's always us that goes through this hardship. And when we listen to the stories, when you look at the book, that's why I'm so crazy about this book of The Ultimate Coach. It's so real and it is so authentic, everything that is said. And I'm thinking about it. Wow, I left Iran at the age of 20. And I always wanted to be a physical therapist. I said, I'm going to make the best one of it. And then that's what happened. Look at what the mess that it went on to in Iran. And I'm having now to get every sister and brother one by one out of Iran. And I was in England. And I had to live on a piece of tomatoes, a piece of potatoes, and 1/3 of a cheese, Edam cheese, they called it in England. So I can save money for my sisters and brothers and get them out. And I was raised having au pairs to take care of as babysitters, and now I'm an au pair in England. And it's like, wow, look at how much we've been through in life to get ourselves. And just like Mary was saying, do I want to change anything? Not at all.
Yeah.
All of that I went through, it's been my blessings to make me be this grateful person that I am, to have the love that I have for everyone, to be that compassionate. I want to love, and I always say in my document, serving people serves my soul, because I don't want to see anybody ever be in my situation. And being a coach, I said I coach people because I don't want them to go through my painful past. So all that we've been through, it's to bless us to be where we are. And that's why when we get in these groups and we sit together, we just see we're all one. We're all one and there is no difference. And
Yes.
love at the end of the day conquers it all. So what a blessing. Thank you for sharing, my love. Thank you for being here. Now, with all that, I'd love to take that to the group and see is anybody else wanting to come and share. Would you come on, my love? Come on, Olga. Go on.
Yes, good evening. It's so good to be here. This was really an interesting chapter to me because today something has come up to me that I have really never ever thought about myself. And Shana, I want to thank you because not that our story is a little bit similar, but I'm also someone who came from a different country and was carving my pathway here in the United States. And I have realized something when I was reading about the jobs when I was as a kid. I was just like, while I was picking up raspberries, I just couldn't find any kind of like really jobs as I did back in communist Czechoslovakia that, it was just like picking up some fruit or something like that, and then I was thinking about my very first job back in Czechoslovakia after I just graduated at university, and I got this job, and it was very much connected to really building up the communist system, even just kind of in the university level where I was employed. And I realized that I completely carved and created a new job for myself because I was given something and I started doing something completely different. And I brought it actually with me here into United States. I started writing kind of like a monthly newsletter, and I called it The Art of Living. So there was something always in me already as a kid and teenager and a young person about just, not only personal development, but just being connected and being in the service to my land and to my community, and to my people. And what was really interesting about it is that I just totally made it up. I just made up my job description, and I remember in my boss, she told me, well, we will just kind of try to see and what kind of interest it has. And so we started with I think about 50 copies or something. And then what happened, it went to all of the elementary school and middle schools and high schools, in the city where, I was employed. And it was such a wonderful way to really share the first insights that I had at that time as someone who loved the life and was trying to really live positive life. And so that was kind of, like really interesting to me. And the same thing when I came to the United States, just like Shana, I had to reinvent myself because my degree, even in my PhD, was just like, like how do I use it here in the United States? And it was really interesting because I got to be employed at George Washington University and establishing a Czech language program at the Slavic Department of Languages and Literature, in Washington, D.C. And again, I just, came to the point that I was asked to write actually a textbook, so there is a textbook, Czech for Americans, and it was a textbook that was written for all the people who were training themselves after the Velvet Revolution happened, in my country in 1989. There was a lot of influx of Americans coming to Eastern Europe, and they were really helping, us to learn a little bit more about the entrepreneurial spirit. And it was amazing that I was asked just kind of to write something that was not my field. I had to really stretch myself to write a textbook. And it was such a just kind of phenomenal experience for me. And even just building my own business, something that is just totally out of a possibility of some girl who was growing up in communist Czechoslovakia. And so this was a beautiful chapter because I came to a line that I want to share. And I realized I am a creative innovator wherever I offer my love and service. And, and I realized that just I create a job for myself. I create a job's description. I create a business that just, it's uniquely mine. And at the root of all of it is just, I was just thinking about it. What is it? And it's really the love that just kind of, I have for humanity, that I just want to serve so boldly and serve with love in my heart. And so I'm so thankful for Amy Harrison for writing this chapter, because it has brought completely a new insight of who I am as a creator of my own jobs and my own opportunities. Thank you so much.
What a lovely share, sweetheart. Thank you. And it shows that all of us have been such creators. I had no idea I would be fitness trainer when I left England and I came to America. And they told me, I had those days, I had lots of black hair. And they said, you have too thick of an accent and you have lots of black hair. And Los Angeles is for blonde ones that they want to be an actresses. And they are the ones that becoming a trainer. And it was just this voice in my head was just saying, keep going. Something told me, don't stop. And I created becoming a very successful fitness trainer at the midst of the blondies and the young ones. And they were all 18 and 19. And I was 34 when I left England. And it's like when you read the book and you just think, really, we are creators. And it emphasizes and how much power we have. To the last breath we take, we're still creating. What a beautiful phenomena that we're learning about ourselves. Thank you, my love. Thank you for your share. Miss Beauty, Liz, bring it on.
Hello, hello. All
Yeah.
right. So for me, I guess what really came up was the section where in the reading we talk about how Steve's ability to connect. And that really took me back to, looking at the gainfully employed aspect when I was in nursing. And I just remember all the different opportunities that I had to connect with my patients on such a deep level that other people just didn't understand, I guess. And, I remember like whether it was the mom who had come in for a DNC because she had a kiddo that passed, a miscarriage that, she needed to be taken care of. And, the few minutes that we had together before that procedure, she looked at me, after we had started to talk and connect, and she, puts her hand on mine on the little side rail, and she said something so beautiful like, thank you. I know God has placed you in my life and you were meant to be here for me in this moment. And it was just so beautiful, to have those acknowledgments like in that point in time. And there are just so many other opportunities. And what really kind of hit it home for me one day was when one of the surgeons that I worked with, he was a super busy guy and I did a lot of his cases. And he asked me one day, he says, how long have you known these people? Like, you know these people, right? And I'm like, no, I just met them in the holding area, which right before you go into the operating room, you have this last little checkpoint, it's kind of our last little spot, doc sees you, all the things. So he's like, you don't know these people. I'm like, no, I literally just met them, and it's that connection piece that's what really came up for me, because he said to me, he's like, you talk to these people like you've known them your whole life. And it was just so beautiful, to have that acknowledgement. But at the same time, I'm like, literally, I just met them, But he said, but you talk to them like you've known them forever. And it's that connection where, just getting to the heart of that individual, because there's only a small window of opportunity, to help them understand, like, I'm here for you, I've got you. And I'm going to take the best care possible of you or your loved one. And you have that small window to gain their trust. So just being present in the moment at such a depth, I feel like that's one of the things, like my journey to get me to where I'm at now as a coach, all those things really have helped prepare me for what I do now. And even coming into this group and being present in the book reading, that was one of the big things. You know, even when I joined, first off, I had messages coming in, and Dave Orton, I'm shouting you out here, was one of the first ones to say, hey, let's connect. You know, but it's like, it's that welcoming love, that connection that really, really makes it, you know, for us. And just even in the book reading, the space, all the time that I spent with Tanya and Tom, especially in the what used to be the after party, now the afterglow, you know, so many times we connected deeply, and just like the growth, it really comes through those connections. So I don't know, that for me just resonated tonight, and the connections are where the gold's at. So I guess don't be afraid to reach out and connect. So anybody that I haven't connected with,
Amen.
send me a message. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
All of us. That's what I called it. This is like a love nest in this community, in this group. It's an absolute love nest. I've never reached out to anybody in this group that said, oh no, I don't want to talk to you ever. You know, they might have been busy in that moment and they said we call later, and they actually did call later. But it's such a brilliant space to be. So thank you, sweetheart, for your beautiful share. That's excellent. Tom, let's hear you, sweetheart.
Hi, thank you again, everyone, for reading so beautifully. This is an interesting chapter for me because it actually brings up it's it's so heartwarming to hear all of these stories that everyone's sharing of how empowered this chapter makes them feel because they've been through something similar.
Mhm.
But this is something that I have really struggled with my whole life without even knowing it, is I actually had the complete opposite experience. I grew up very privileged with lots of, I never wanted for anything material. I went to the best schools. I like from the outside looking in a lot of ways, I had a perfect childhood. I went all around the world. What I realized when it took me till I was like 35 to realize this. I never had the opportunity to learn how to work. I never had the opportunity to learn the value of money. I never had the opportunity to learn how the world works, because until I finished university, I was like handed everything on a plate, almost literally. And it's like there's still like a tinge of embarrassment about even sharing this as a problem, because there's this kind of guilt complex of I don't get to feel bad. I don't get to be depressed. I don't get to, have problems. Who the fuck am I to have problems when I've been given so much? And the truth is, I was sent to boarding school in a different country from my parents. I was bullied mercilessly when I was there. I lacked affection, and I learned not to connect. I learned to disconnect. I learned to withdraw. I learned to hide myself. I learned to shut myself down. And then suddenly I'm out in the world. And while I was going through this process, literally with some of the richest people in the world, I went to school with Kate Middleton, and there were princes' sons, and there were business moguls' children, and the whole time I was there, I was like, this doesn't make sense. All of this, these people behaving this way, all the the cliques and I remember Roger Gabriel getting a brand new Volkswagen Golf for his 17th birthday, and I was just like, I don't want this life. I don't want to go and, I mean, I don't have daddy's company to go and work for, but I don't want that, and I don't like that, and I don't like these people. And what I internalized about it was at the time that I'm broken, because everyone else around me was just all set up to go and take over daddy's company. And then I kind of came out into the world knowing that I was here to like change something, but with no idea how to actually, because I had the luxury of, I needed a cricket bat because the one that I had broke. I went to my housemaster and I got him to sign a little chit that I would take to the shop in town, and they would give me a cricket bat. And we called it free on the bill, i.e. it went on the bill to my parents. And so I lived in this like bubble, and then I came out into the world and I started trying to, originally I started trying to build a film company, and then working as a freelancer in film, and I was like trying my hardest but without any idea, because it's I don't want to like glorify having to sell donuts to pay for your mum when she's had a stroke, because that's the only option. Absolutely not. And it's interesting to me how many people who like that, those experiences propel them to be someone like Steve. And it's not talked about often how much of a struggle it is to never learn those skills. And it led me into like spending most of my life depressed, and realizing that my hardship does count, and that it's a very different kind of hardship, of loneliness, of isolation, of not knowing how to operate in this world, feeling literally like an alien. And that experience has also propelled me to who I am now. Fari, when you were sharing, I got a piece of this. I was like, oh, I want to share this, and I feel like it's going to be like, oh, poor little rich boy. But you shared a piece of like, something in me knew to keep going. I knew that I was here to make a difference, and it took me a long time to figure it out. And now what I'm doing in my mastermind group is helping people who don't fit in to change the system. Like, it's called Game Changers, and I've just turned 40 and I've just arrived at this place, and I'm so grateful for. I mean, I've literally just come up with an idea for a retreat, which I'm so excited about, that uses all of the different things that I have kind of tried and failed at, from cocktail making to DJing to fire spinning to acro yoga to all these things. I'm going to put all of them in one event and like invite the most interesting people I know to come and play. And I think it's going to be fabulous.
That's brilliant.
And so, yeah, so I'm really grateful for it. I wouldn't change anything in the world. And being in groups like this and with people like you, and everyone that I've met since I got into this world of coaching, it's been a journey of learning how to do the thing that I always knew how to do, which is connect with people and serve people and change people's lives. And so I'm super grateful to be here, and thank you for listening to me rant for a long time.
It's wonderful to listen to you. Thank you for sharing. And when you say you felt guilty because you were raised rich as a rich kid, but you had to go through that path to get to where you are today. And Steve had to go through that path. We all have our own ways in different ways. I was raised in a very wealthy Iranian family in Iran. My mother, by birth, she was a princess. Her grandfather was a king in Iran zillions of years ago. But from that, I hated it so much, being in that. And I thought, I want to be who I am. I want to live my life. It was a miserable rich house. It was hell. And I wanted to get the hell out of it, which I did. And I went and I became an au pair in England and washing kids' arse when I never knew what that was. What am I going to do now with that? How do I clean them up? And I suffered, but that suffering built me for who I am today. All that we went is that money kept on. I worked hard, very hard to earn it, but I never wanted to keep it for me, and I never did. I kept on getting things for my nephews, nieces, my sisters, get them together, lift them up, people that I didn't know. And to this day, is not the money to keep it in and, you know, earn it and keep it in, is who you become because of what you're getting. And life, even though that you had money, but it still was difficult for you. I don't think anybody has an easy path just because they're rich. The household that I was raised was the biggest prison. I would never wish it on my enemy. But I am so blessed to go through that difficulty and become who I am. So that's your blessing, my love. I would rejoice on that, and I congratulate you. Blessings to you. Thank you for sharing your beautiful share. Ralph, my love, I know it's like 4 o'clock in the morning for you, probably.
Nearly.
Nearly. Oh, wow.
Maybe it's just after 3. So
Oh, wow.
what stayed with me from this chapter is the traits we carry when we're young and the ones that we carry forward and how we develop them. So we can see Steve went in to create the reality. He did a reality check and was like, I'm not going to get this job by doing this, so I'm going to do it in a different way. So whatever our upbringing, it has different riches. That's how I would look at it. Like, I was kind of in a halfway house between what Tom has described in terms of never having need, but then I ended up working anyway, and I don't really know why that is. And there's a few jobs that stayed with me. So I did lots of gardening and window cleaning and those things, but I also did national service in Germany at the time. You had to join the army. There was no professional army really. But I was a conscientious objector, so I had to go through a process and applied to work in a care home. And I worked on 3 different wards of 4 wards of disabled adults. Sometimes I had 20 of them together bowling downstairs in the building.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the other day someone mentioned how I care for people physically, even just subconsciously in their space. And that's something I learned there, which was a great richness to learn. So for my brother Tom, it's, you know, we have different riches and different types of poverty in our life. And as has been said, they're all valid. So that job, you know, I had some real near misses with people's safety because I wasn't really trained. And I had all sorts of running political battles with the leadership of the home for how I do things, and it's meant to be done like this. And I could already feel the adult world encroaching on my young enthusiasm to create something positive, something meaningful, deep, meaningful connection. And I went from there to study, and we had a rent strike in the university. And I ended up being one of the spokespeople. And in that was the readings I'd done many years earlier that taught me about struggle, from reading Mandela, Malcolm X. And that was such a creative job. It had so much responsibility as well at the age I was. But we did create, you know, we agitated to create reactions from the university or from the establishment or the government. We created opportunities to travel and to show each other solidarity. So I think whatever our experience, it gives us the possibility to look at how did we create things then and how do we now? And where is there overlap, but where do each of us have a poverty of experience that needs to be filled? And that's what this community does so beautifully. This is why I'm up at 2 a.m, because the poverty of experience can be filled by other people. And then, of course, we start seeing greater nuance in our own experience and life. So I don't know if I'll keep coming to the evening ones very often, but on a Sunday I will. And it's just so beautiful to have, well, I've said it before, it's almost like relational therapy, you know, by relating to each other's stories through this book, and the principles that are packaged differently in this book to different books we've read and different movements we've been part of. I don't see this movement extinguishing, and I think it was Wanda that said love is like expansion. I just see it expanding, and it's a really safe, powerful, beautiful space to have. And I think we all have different riches and wealth of experience to bring to make our community greater. And that's what I take with that story for Steve. Each of us will see a different reality, check it, and be able to create something for the benefit of the wider community. So I've loved being welcomed and encouraged as we encourage each other in the group. And I take away that the power of creating in any circumstance, we can flip the paradigm and do it differently.
Oh, wow, that's lovely. Well, it'll be my loss if you don't come on Wednesdays, because I can't come on Sunday mornings. I have a husband who wants me not to work in the morning, but I will find you somehow, somewhere, and I see you, Ralph.
Well, all the more reason to connect beyond the group.
Amen, for sure. Lovely for your share. Thank you, my darling. Mr.
Thank you.
Tom, bring it on.
Unmute. So beautiful reading tonight by everybody. And as Shauna, as you're reading the chapter, you know, I started thinking about all my jobs. I didn't read the chapter ahead of time today, or you know, so I just started thinking about my jobs. But then as I'm listening to everybody share tonight, you know, something really opened up, and that's how important people are and opportunity are in my life, you know, and then everything went deeper and more colorful, and so I don't know where the share is going to go, but you know, the first job I had, I was a paper boy, and I think I did it for about a week. Yeah, and then you know, jobs until I was like about 14 or 15, and I became a caddy at a country club carrying bags around for golfers, and that was a lot of fun. And then a friend said, Tom, come on, work over here as a dishwasher in this restaurant. It's called Charlie's Crab. It was a really, really busy restaurant. And so I went and worked as a dishwasher, and that restaurant served chowder to every guest. And so you'd go home drenched in chowder. We'd have chowder underwear when we went home. But I stuck with that job, and then, you know, who knows what happened. Somebody didn't show up, but anyways, hey, can you help us out in the prep area? So I go in the prep area, and then, can you help out here? Can you help out there? And then I eventually got into management, and I stayed with that company for 20 years. And, you know, I was 19 years old, and I was running a kitchen, you know, that did $5 million in business back in the 70s, you know, and it was like, why was I there doing that? But, you know, work has been so important for me. And I didn't even realize it to just now. It's like, I've always worked, and I'll never not work. I also worked as a cashier around that time too, in a drugstore. But and then you know, met real estate agents coming into the restaurants I was at, and became a real estate agent, and now that's been 33 years, and you know, coaching and training, but the big thing that I get here is the people in my life, and you all are the people in my life, you know, everyone here. And, you know, the stories tonight, you know, the shares were amazing, you know, and it just got me thinking, you know, in the restaurant business, I had some great mentors. I mean, I had this chef Chef Larry in there. He was the corporate chef, and Chuck Muir was the visionary of the company. And those guys, I mean, no matter what business I'm in, you know, they talked about quality and they talked about treating people right. You know, and it's like they have such, you know, even though I'm not in the restaurant business right now, I think of them all the time because of the lessons they taught. You know, so I just, you know, yeah, I'm just grateful right now. I feel very fortunate, you know, the way things have unfolded. And, you know, it gets me to thinking, you know, it's like everything was perfect. Even all like Fari and Tom, you know, even the things that were not perfect, they're perfect. Because if any one of those things was different, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now. You know, so everything just lines right up. All those jobs lined right up. And one other thing that popped to my mind, that also my mom got leukemia when I was like 16 or 17. And so kind of like Steve, I mean, my dad was working and my mom actually had a good job. So it's like, I didn't need to buy things for the family, but I did have, you know, I did take my mom to doctors and you know, drove her around and we had a special relationship. And she passed when I was 19, you know, and I didn't even know, you know, I was clueless. I mean, I just knew I lost my mom, but I didn't get the impact of it at the time. And then one last thing, I did buy everything that I had too, like Steve said. You know, he wanted something, he'd have to go buy it. So I remember saving for a bike, a blue Schwinn bike, skis, Rossignol skis. I bought my white Pinto when I was 16 years old. It was my first car, brand new car. 2 weeks later, a guy took it out, totaled it, you know, but you know, it's like I've always been responsible with money and always, and it goes all the way back to those days. So it's like I've never acknowledged my parents for teaching me that ever until right now, because I'm sure it came from them. You know, there's no other place it could have come from. So anyways, that was my all over the board share. But it was a lot of fun, and you know, I'm grateful for all of you and for all the shares and for the book reading tonight.
You know, you're really loved here in this space. You know that, Tom. You're the star. We all love. I was so pleasantly surprised when I saw you in Arizona. I just didn't know how to let go of you. I wanted to hug you forever. And it's that loving relationship we've all created here. And is it all because we're a creator and we learn about this book that don't be stingy. Show your love, give your love.
I really become present to my heart, you know, and when you do that, you become present to everyone else's. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so I know that and I feel that and I appreciate you.
Absolutely. The way I've always loved to love, it was partially they were just saying, oh, you're a pleaser, until I read the book and I say, oh, no, that's not pleaser. That's because I want to love you. Allow me to be. I want to be that loving person. Stop titling me with being a pleaser, with being, not that I wasn't a pleaser, but certain part of it. No, I want to love you. Receive it or don't judge me.
Mhm.
You know, so that's one of the best things that it has done for us in this place. So thank you, sweetheart, for your beautiful share. Wow, Miss Elaine, 3 o'clock in the morning in England. Now that is called commitment, sweetheart. You and you and Ralph, you surprised me.
Sorry, it's not as early as it is for Ralph. It's after 4.
Oh, you're in Paris though, aren't you?
I'm in France.
Oh yeah, you're in France. That's right. Yeah.
So Ralph's really the hero.
You both are. Yes, my dear.
Sorry.
Go on. No,
yeah, I mean, this chapter, I have to be really honest that when I've read it, I've seen the similarities in various ways as far as working's concerned, and but pretty much like Ralph, Our family, we didn't need to work, but from the age of 10, 11, I was out there working and waitressing and cleaning flats and what have you. But it's not what I got from it this time. I mean, when we were going through the questions, the one that popped up was, who would I need to be to live the most extraordinary life I can live? And I tried to push it down because I thought that I'm not going to get anything from this chapter that relates to that question, but it kept coming back and smacking me in the face. So I kind of went with it. And what I got from it was more general, but blew me away because I really didn't expect it, was that when we ask life for something, it gives it to us if we say yes. So when Steve says he wants to make money, when we ask life, we say we want something, life gives us that. And when we say yes, it gives us everything we need to make it happen. So that was the first thing I got. And that when we ask for it, we don't always get the easy route. So Steve asking for the $20 was the easy route, but he didn't get the easy route. Life threw him something else, another way of doing it. So the way that he went taught him more about life. So that this story of the clock was being of service, looking for opportunities to be of service, and of being your word. So he learned something different from if he'd have just got the easy route. So I was kind of like, oh my God, this is incredible. And then when he was in the job in the bomb factory and it was monotonous, it's listening to your instinct. If it doesn't feel right, then get out of it, because other opportunities will come your way and the right opportunities will come your way. And to always be open for opportunities, to always know that life's going to give you the opportunities you need. With the application, it's that be seen, which is a massive thing for me. I'm a big hider. So it's to be your genuine self and be seen, stand up and be seen, and don't follow the crowd, follow your instinct. And then finally, it was the very last part where he has all this money and he expects to be able to go away on a mission, but it just doesn't happen like that. And it's to have faith that everything's working in your favor, that everything is exactly as it's meant to be. And you'll get where you're meant to be when it's the right time, but the journey is what's important, not the destination. So it was really mind-blowing for me because I didn't expect to get anything like that from it. So yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you for your lovely share. You always inspire me. Your words of wisdom, your love, everything is so inspiring. That's another one of these things. I mean, how on earth we would have been able to find each other, meet each other from the heart of California to the heart of France and have so much in common. And the more reason that we're all so one. We've all been through all these ups and downs for a reason, to have a better sets of ears to hear each other and love each other. So thank you, my love. Thank you so much. Yes, Damien, the comedian in this group.
I have no stories. I have done nothing.
We're all ears.
Once upon a time, there's this foreigner from Brooklyn. So, I love everybody shares, and it's nice to get to more real grounded, knowing everybody, a lot of I'll throw out a lot of stuff. So, like Steve selling donuts, 10 years old, I wanted a shirt, I wanted a pair of pants. They were like $20. My parents said, you're gonna get the $3 one. And after that, I was like, you know what? Fuck that. I'll never ask for money again, ever. My dad was a carpenter, so we didn't have, money here and there, but I said, I'll never ask for again. So I walked to the corner, and we back up. At 3 years old, I used to go shopping for my mom. I used to go walk to the corner with a note. My mom wants this, by myself. What is this? I don't know what this is.
What?
A sign came up. Do I want to speak Arabic? Okay.
I know, I got that too. That is
God,
so bizarre.
God always wants to be a comedian. Not your turn yet. You gotta wait.
I got that too.
So at 10 years old, I went to the butcher. I said I want a job. And then at 11 years old, I got a newspaper route, then I had 2 newspaper routes. And then, always wheeling and dealing, 12 years old, first girlfriend, smoking cigarettes, dealing pot, always wheeling and dealing. And, so me being different, grew up in a Jewish neighborhood. I was Italian, but I didn't know the difference. I didn't know. And always feeling out of place, but work wise. So I've been working since I'm 10, butcher, newspaper routes, legal, illegal dealing. As a kid, 13 years old, making little nickel bags. Relating to Steve, he told his friend, go wear patent leather shoes. He told his friend what to do to get in. And that's the story of my life all the time. All the time. I'm always the middleman connector, and even like 2 or 3 different neighborhoods didn't talk to each other. I can walk to all of them because I'm Mr. Neutral, or people that hated each other or liked each other. I'm always the middle guy they trusted. And this came up when he says, I'm too young, but you don't know what talent I have. So a friend of mine used to run a Harley Davidson motorcycle shop, and on the movies, and during the movies, you bring a T-shirt in, and they would print the movie name on a T-shirt for you. So I'm hanging out in the Harley Davidson shop, and the guy was complaining about, we need T-shirts. I said, I can make those. Really? Yeah, no problem. I ran back to the studio. How do you do this? How do you silkscreen? How do you do this? How do you do that? I had no clue. And then I had somebody, I did it. I had it. I figured it out. Can you do this? Yeah, I can do this. I figured it out. And then my life switched a little bit. I was always lying meaning like I wanted to work, but I was 15 maybe. I think I said I was 16 or 17. I filled out fake working papers. So I remember this as a kid. I got a gold chain and it felt like I just knew. It felt very weird. And it said gold plated. I don't know what it was. Just like that much gold. And it was like a pipe. It was hollow. So when it was Burger King, I went to the store and I always like, even till today, if it cost me 3 jobs to get something, I'll do it. I always wanted a solid gold chain, Italian in Brooklyn. What can I say? I always wanted a solid gold chain. I went to this jewelry store, and this is this is like 48 years ago, and it was like $90. I said, I'll be back in 2 days, and he says, you got to bring your dad or something. So I brought my dad. My dad says, first of all, I went back and it was like $120. The guy says, relax, I know who you are. And my dad's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, I was such a nasty acid dad. I'm getting it. So either you say yes or yes, I'm getting it, And so real quick, what relates to today, when I was working at Burger King, I helped them build the place. Like one of the carpenters, hey, come on, let Damien help me. I helped build the place, and they wanted me to be a junior manager. And there was this other brainy kid that he was going to college. So since I didn't have a college paper, they voted him to be the boss, and he kept asking me every day, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I was so pissed. So to speed up to today, Tom left, but I'm glad he shared his story because, I'm sort of a chameleon, brought up with a lot of powerful wise guys in the streets and brought up in the studios with a lot of powerful actors, and nobody intimidates me, you know? So the reason I'm saying that is going into the coaching world with addiction and expanding more, to work with somebody with money, I kept, and Tom sort of woke it up because there's this girl who's a friend of mine, and she was a nurse for the 1%ers. And Tom sort of like validated it and tell you these two quick things. She says, Damien, work, it's like their bank account's way up here and I'm way down here. She says, the 1%ers are so more messed up than normal people. They need you so bad. They're like, they're so used to doing what they want. They're so screwed up. They need somebody to like not take their shit, you know? And but he emphasized it that I think Fari said or something, it's a jail mindset. It's a jail mindset, you know, and it's like, you know, this is what they need. They need, you know, an experience I had with the experience that I had with this kid, 40 something years old. His family's worth $600 million, and I'm doing sober coaching at nighttime. And this is me. He's going on and on and on about his ex-girlfriend and that. And he doesn't shut up. And it's midnight. I said, listen, I'm gonna go get a sandwich. But he says, wait, a little more. And he kept going on and on. I said, listen, I'm going to get a sandwich. And this little rich kid goes, sit down, or I'm not gonna pay you. I lost it. I laughed so hard. I says, are you kidding me? You think I need this money? I don't need this money. I got up, I went to the kitchen, and he just stood there like, what just happened? So between that experience and Tom reminding me, when you're too privileged, you don't know how to like walk normal, you know? And that's like the worst drug in the world, that you know, being out of place and you don't know how to function. So it reminded me, don't let the money intimidate you. You know, this, you know, stuck is stuck. So that was loud. And thank you for everybody's shares. It's, you know, everybody's in God's gym and we just work out different. So thank you, everybody.
Amen. Amen. That's wonderful. God's gym. I love that. Thank you for your lovely share, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Yes, we're in this gym, we're all one. In this gym, we're all going through everything we've been, so we can have this love for each other and spread the world, spread the love around the world. So that's marvelous.
Mm.
Well, thank you for all these wonderful shares. And I wanted to ask again for our beautiful Shauna and Mary and Renate. Would you guys have any more? Would you like to share anything else in mind for you?
Sure.
Mary? Or Shauna, go on, please. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you for all the shares and this beautiful connection and really making us present to how grateful I am for all those experiences, and which really helps me connect on a human level with all my patients. And it's interesting when, you know, some could say like, oh, you would never know, you're a doctor, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I've done this, I've done that. And you know, I can relate to people from all walks of life, and
Amen.
that desire to connect, to love, to serve, that makes me a very good physician now, that I you know, have fun seeing people. It's more like visiting. You get to know people. So it's not like I'm a doctor and you listen to me. No, I empower people to really take care of themselves.
That's marvelous. You are a divine being. That's what who you are. And thank you. Thank you for spending your time with us today and let us enjoy you. Thank you.
I
That's
want
wonderful.
to also thank you all for before I wouldn't even talk. I would just wait until the afterglow to share, to talk, and I really want to thank you all for loving me and helping me be seen.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming and let us enjoy your wisdom. That's lovely. And your reading was brilliant, spot on. So thank you. Mary, would you like to share any more?
I just want to just thank everybody for sharing everything that you did. And it's so nice to just hear from everybody and just learn and just you do feel the real love just pulsating in this whole group. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. And I just thank you for it.
What a joy to have you here with us. Thank you. Thank you for your time and your love and support. And Renate, my love, would you have anything to say anymore? Would you like to share?
Yeah, thanks everybody for the shares and for the powerful reminder that we all have our experiences and they are unique. And no matter where we come from, there is joy and there is hardship everywhere, no matter what kind of upbringing we had and what kind of life paths we had so far. And understanding that makes it easier to be open for connections, open to really listen from the heart where people are coming from. If we only look from the outside, then we would say, oh wow, they had it easy, they always had money, they had it easy, they always were the beautiful, the fit, the sportive kid. I got bullied for being a little overweight and unfit and clumsy. And yeah, I disconnected a lot from people for that reason. And I had in my 40s, I started to reconnect and I had to learn how out fearing and holding back because I'm scared to be hurt again. So to hear that even if you are a rich kid or if it seems like you have it all, these kids and these people, they have their own thing to deal with. And
Amen.
to hear that and see that we are all in this group and can meet here on a whole different level, that is just awesome. And I love to be here. Can't wait to see you in Birmingham, guys.
Thank you for your lovely share. Do you realize your rooster loves you a lot? The minute you start talking there, she's there.
Oh, well,
She's
it's not
keeping
only
you
one, it's about
company.
20. It's about 20 of them. So that's they
Oh,
take
dear
shifts.
God. Well, make sure every time you come, they're going to be there because they make it so much more fun.
Well,
It's so
I can't
pleasant.
make them go away.
Oh, hell no, don't do that. No. Well, thank you everybody for your share. It was a wonderful space to be tonight and learn from each other. And I will pass it on now to our lovely Elaine, who's now like, what is it, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning for you?
4:30.
4:30, dear God. All right, we'll let our beautiful Elaine to take over and take us home, darling.
Thank you, very. So first of all, I'd like to acknowledge Shana for saying yes and for being seen. And I totally am with you about the being seen thing. So we see you and we acknowledge you. And what a beautiful reading. Thank you so much for saying yes. Also, to our other two readers, to Mary and Renate, thank you both so much for offering or accepting again, and for your wonderful shares, insights, and all that we all got from that. So thank you both so much. To Team Tuck, of course, for the hard work that goes into all of this, and for the meetings and for the support that we all give each other. It really is a spectacular team. Thank you. And last but by no means least, thank you to all of you, whether you're here on the Zoom or you're watching live on Facebook or you're watching the replay. Thank you for being part of this, and your presence is what makes it so incredible. Thank you. We'd like to invite you to join us on Sunday, April the 14th, 10 a.m. EDT time, so check your own time zones. It's chapter 7, A Man on a Mission, and of course, obvious choice, Alok Appadurai. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. And also, just for you, Liz, Alok, happy birthday to you. And that's it. That's as far as I'm going with that. Um, we would also like to remind you and invite you to join TUB 24 event on the 25th and 26th of May in Birmingham in the UK, where all proceeds will be donated to the Cochlear Implant Hospital for children, and it will be supporting children who are hearing impaired and giving them a new opportunity to listen. So really worthy cause, and it would be so great to see you all there and be able to hug you and say hi in person. There's a link in the chat. I think somebody will put that in there. We also, just to remind you of all the other resources that are available to you. So we have the YouTube channel, the Coach podcast, the Instagram account, LinkedIn group, the weekly Being Digest newsletter, which is via email and gives you news of all the upcoming events. Friday live conversations in the Facebook group. And you can find all this information on the ultimatecoachextras.com, or you can just type yes in the chat and one of us will be happy to help you with all of that. So thank you to everybody again, and thank you to everyone who shared. I'm just blown away by today's reading. I'm so glad that I got up and came. And now we'd invite you to come to the Afterglow party, where you can share if you haven't been able to share so far, and where the recording's turned off. So really you can come and shine in private. And thank you all again. I invite everyone to unmute yourself so you can say goodbye.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Bye.
Fantastic.
Have a good night.
Thank
Blessings
you,
to all
Ron,
of
for
you.
Bye.
being here
Have a
with
great
us.
Lovely to
night.
see you all.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.
Lovely to see you.